So artificial intelligence is absolutely dominating every conversation about supply chains right now. But have you ever stopped to wonder why some companies just seem to thrive with it while others really struggle? Well, a fascinating new study suggests the answer isn't actually in the tech itself, but in our mindset. Let's dig into what that really means. So let me ask you this right off the bat. Is your company's AI strategy building a fortress, a place where knowledge is all locked down and controlled, or is it creating a forum, a space for open, collaborative learning that spans your entire network? This is the core tension we're going to unpack today.
And this brings us to what I'm calling the AI mindset paradox. I mean, everyone is racing to adopt AI, but the results? They're all over the map. The gap between the leaders and the laggards is getting wider and wider, and it really seems to boil down to just one thing: perception.
And to put a number on it, just look at this. Gartner predicts that by 2026, a staggering 80% of supply chain companies are going to be using AI at some level. So you can see it's really not a question of if anymore, it's all about how.
This is the big idea from a 2025 study by Tortorella and his colleagues. They make this powerful argument that the real driver of success isn't the software you buy. It's how you think about that software. It's the mindset you bring to the table that changes everything.
Okay, so how do we actually measure something like a mindset? Well, the researchers used a classic, time-tested framework that boils it all down to two fundamental questions that pretty much every leader asks when they're looking at a new piece of tech.
First up, perceived usefulness. Simple enough, right? Will this thing actually help us do our jobs better? And the second question is all about perceived ease of use. Okay, honestly, how much of a headache is this going to be to get up and running? How we answer these two questions, well, that shapes everything that comes next.
And this isn't some random idea they just came up with. It's all based on the well-established technology acceptance model, or TAM for short. It's a proven concept that shows our perception of a technology's usefulness and its ease of use directly predicts whether we're actually going to bother using it at all. All right, so that covers the whole AI perception piece. But what does that perception actually do? What does it affect? Well, the other half of this whole equation is a concept called supply chain learning. So supply chain learning, or SCL, isn't just about what your company knows. No, it's the collective, shared knowledge that's created and passed between you, your suppliers, your customers, literally everyone in your orbit. You can think of it as the hive mind of your entire network. And just so you know, this isn't just some abstract theory. The findings we're about to dive into are based on a survey of 206 real-world business practitioners. This is data from people who are on the front lines, managing supply chains every single day. Okay, here we go. This is the main event. We're going to take these two big ideas, AI perception and supply chain learning, and combine them into this really powerful 2x2 grid that reveals four totally distinct outcomes. So here's our grid. On the horizontal axis, you've got how useful a company thinks AI is, from low to high, and on the vertical, how easy they think it is to use, again, from low to high. Now, let's start filling this thing in.
First up, down in that bottom left corner, we have the skeptic. This is the company that doesn't really see the point of AI, and they think it's way too complicated anyway. So, what kind of learning environment does a mindset like that create?
The result is what the study calls captive learning. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you see AI as difficult and not very useful, you have zero incentive to try and use it for collaboration. Instead, learning gets controlled and dictated by one single dominant player. Information flows strictly one way, top-down, like a memo from headquarters. It creates this super rigid network that's just riddled with blind spots. Okay, let's move up a box to the conservative. This company finds AI tools pretty easy to use, maybe for some simple, basic tasks, but they just don't believe it has any deep strategic value. This kind of mindset leads to consortium learning. What happens here is a small, exclusive group of partners might use some simple AI tools to work together, but that knowledge, it stays locked within their little circle. It's like a members-only club. And this kind of closed network misses out on all the amazing insights from the broader ecosystem, which really limits its potential for any kind of breakthrough innovation. Now, let's jump over to the bottom right, the pragmatist. Now, this company totally gets it. They see the power and the usefulness of AI. They see the potential, but they also see it as incredibly complex and really hard to implement.
This results in something called selective learning. Because the main company believes AI is valuable but also really hard, they use it strategically to go out and scout for the best ideas they can find, from anywhere, inside or outside their immediate partners. They become a talent scout for knowledge. And while that's pretty effective for that one company, it creates a dependency and doesn't do much to build up the collective intelligence of the entire network.
And that brings us to our final quadrant, the top right, the innovator. This, my friends, is the sweet spot. Innovators believe that AI is both incredibly powerful and increasingly accessible. They've managed to overcome the barriers of both usefulness and ease of use.
This is the mindset that creates the ultimate outcome: distributed learning. In this model, knowledge isn't controlled or selectively hunted down. Nope, it's co-created and shared freely across a diverse, open, decentralized network of partners. Just think of it like the open source model of innovation, but for your supply chain, where everyone contributes and everyone benefits. It's a total game changer.
So there you have it, the complete framework. And the most important takeaway here is that where your company lands on this map is a direct result of your collective mindset. Are you a skeptic, a conservative, a pragmatist, or an innovator? At the end of the day, your perception is defining your reality. Now, this is way more than just some theoretical model you'd see in a textbook. The research actually shows us that this framework has real, strategic implications for how companies actually operate in the real world.
Let's just zoom in on the profile of an innovator for a second. The data shows they tend to be larger firms, often with more global partners. But what's really fascinating to me is that instead of running away from complexity, they embrace it. They use AI to foster open collaboration and unlock knowledge from a way wider, more diverse network.
And as the authors themselves say, this isn't just an academic exercise. Understanding your company's perception of AI allows managers to be truly strategic. It helps you prioritize where to put your energy and design a learning culture that actually matches the goals you're trying to achieve.
So we end up right back where we started. Your company's perception of AI isn't just some passive opinion floating around the office. It is an active force that is shaping your supply chain's future right now as we speak. So the only question left to ask is, are you consciously building the future that you actually want?